share my screen as well. I've got some slides for you all.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah, and they should be up now. I'm going to pop open the chat too and try to keep an eye on it as I go through, but no promises. Okay, so can somebody just let me know if they can see the slides?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So as Dominica and Gabri mentioned, my name is Brianna Pauling and I'm the program manager for Rural Alaska Honors Institute. And RAHI is a 6-week summer academic program that is geared toward helping Alaska Native and rural students in our state succeed in post-secondary education. And I'll go over a little bit about the way we do that, but in a nutshell, what we end up doing is it's a competitive program where students apply, and if they get accepted, we'll fly them to Fairbanks. They'll take classes at the UAF Trouthiata campus, kind of feel out what it's like to eat in the dorms and go to classes and learn what a college class looks like among about peers. And there's usually about 50 students, depending on funding, that we're able to accept each summer. This summer's program is going to be May 28th through July 12th. And typically, if you've been working with RAHI for a while, my pattern for everybody to just let them know is RAHI typically will start the Tuesday after Memorial Day and then go through mid-July. So we kind of focus on 3 main pillars. The first that I'm going to talk about is our academic pillar. And then the second will go into some recreation. And then the third is volunteering. And these are in no particular order of importance. Although I will say our most heavily focused, or our heaviest focus is on academics. Students, what makes RAHI really unique is that students get an average of 9 college credits throughout the course of the semester, which again is 6 weeks. And if you kind of think about it, full-time semester at UAF, or full-time load for a 6-week session in the summer for UAF students is 6 credits. And so these students are actually taking between 8 and 10, and there's a couple years where they actually took 11. And so we're really cramming in a lot of classes in there for them. So it's pretty much, they're in the classroom with a few good breaks throughout the day, between about 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. We package our classes up. So we have quite a few classes that we offer. I think last year we had about 20. I'd have to actually count them. I didn't do that. But we hire our instructors to teach students each year. And so all of our instructors are dedicated and interested in working with rural and Alaska Native students and are willing to give up their very precious summers, not really give up, but dedicate themselves during very precious time of the year to this cause. And like I mentioned, we package it in a few different ways. So we have 3 tracks. We have research, which is for students who are interested in becoming a researcher, or if they're interested in science. We have a lot of students actually coming in from Southeast, it seems like, who are super interested in research. And so it'd be really cool to see some more students from other regions who are research and science focused. But basically with this track, students have an opportunity to take organic and biochemistry. And then they get paired with UAF research mentors who work them through a project all the way from formulating a hypothesis through presenting the results to their peers. So they get the full experience of what it looks like to do a project and research at a college campus. And they go out in the field. You can see this picture. We have Rowan, who's taking some field notes, and I think this is on the UAF trail system actually 2 years ago. And then they take their observations and data and might sample and process in the lab, and then fold those into results, and like I said, share them out. The Teach track is for students who are interested in becoming educators in our state. So this was built as one of the gateways into teaching and helping kind of grow our own, jumping on that movement and need. And so students who take this track are going to be enrolled in a course called Indigenous Cultures of Alaska, which is a survey of the different cultures in our state. And then they'll also be taking a class called Teaching for Alaska's Future, which is really geared toward giving them an idea of what it actually looks like to be in a classroom through curriculum development. They'll plan their own lessons and deliver them to their class, and learn what it's like to manage a classroom and classroom behavior, and all the just a good survey of what that actually looks like. So those are our two specialty tracks, is research and teach. And if students want to get the college experience and they're not totally sure what they're interested in, or maybe they're interested in one of our other classes, the traditional track is kind of our catch-all package for students who just want to get some college credits and experience a college campus. So in our traditional track, students are able to take that Indigenous Cultures of Alaska class or college level writing. They also take an elective class in the afternoon, and I say elective, but it's not really an elective. Typically we offer general requirement classes, and so we try to make sure that they're going to apply to whatever degree they want to go into. So last year we offered chemistry 103, which is a general chemistry class. We offered math class, intensive intermediate algebra, and then one other one that is slipping my mind for some reason right now, probably because I'm talking to you all. Let's see, math, chemistry, and another one that we had was process technology. And that one is not a core requirement, but is geared toward helping students who are interested in going into a trade. And so we take them down to the Pipeline Training Center off campus, and they get some hands-on training in process technology. And then with all three of these tracks, students are able to take additional one credit classes to fill up the rest of their day. The one class that every single student takes is study skills, which is an effort to give them the skills that they need to succeed at the college level. We talk about things like personal finance, scheduling classes, financial aid, career exploration, actually note-taking and what that looks like when you're reading a textbook or in a lecture, kind of just like a preview into what all of those different skills look like, and hopefully give them a good foundation for success later. Let's see, and then they're also able to take a library science course, which is a requirement that will teach them how to navigate the library and finding scholarly resources that they can use in their classes. I see the question. So can students switch tracks? Do students decide on the track when they're admitted to the program? Yeah, so once they're in a track, they're stuck there. So our program is so short that basically the first 2 days really that they're here, they're going to get exposed to the classes that they're in, and then they can decide if they want to advocate for themselves and change their class. We can have a conversation about that. Oftentimes we do switch that very first week, but after that we close because we don't want them to miss materials. So it's possible to switch, and the way that we figure out which track students want to go into is they'll indicate that as part of their application and registration materials. We found that asking students what they're most interested in, and then also their tracks, we get a pretty good idea of what's going to benefit them the most. Yep, no problem. Okay, so this was another class that I didn't mention yet because I knew I had a slide coming up for it. But one of our other focuses is recreation. Since we're in the classroom so often throughout the summer, we definitely like to get out and explore the interior a little bit, and then also exercise as part of our coursework. So this is our offerings for recreation classes, and they change every year. I'm just going to put that out there. Last year we did not offer karate. We actually had Polynesian dance, which is really cool to see students get excited about Polynesian dance and arts and perform at the end of the program. But we also have Alaska Native dance, which is something that I've never seen us not offer. That's one of our staples for sure. And then yoga. And again, the main idea is just to get students active and make sure they have an outlet for bodies and minds and spirits and wellness, and can kind of take a break from the books for a little bit. In addition to that, each weekend we pack in some type of event where we take the entire group out. And so usually one of the first things that we do is go climb Angel Rocks, which is either a 3.4, I think, mile loop around some natural rock formations out in the Chena State or Chena Recreation area. Or students have the option of going on a 9-mile hike all the way through to Chena Hot Springs. And then we kind of culminate at Chena Hot Springs and get a nice soak in to relax our muscles. We also have our bingo camp trip, which happens right after midterms to kind of decompress from all the stress that are associated with those, where we take a few days and just hang out with one another. We do what's called Fun Olympics, which is kind of a series of sort of like minute to minute games or just fun camp games, like Chubby Bunny. And this one, they're passing water from the lake over the back of their head to their person behind them to try and see who can fill the bucket with the most water. So games like that. And then definitely the fan favorite is our Denali whitewater rafting trip, where we take everybody down in some vans or buses or however we can arrange transportation, depending on what it looks like in the summer, to Denali, and they jump in some rafts and go down some Class 3 rapids to the Indiana River. All right, so our third pillar is volunteering. So typically on Sundays, we have volunteer opportunities for our students. This picture, they're helping an elder, our local elder, Elizabeth Legal, with some yard work. We had, I think 6 groups of students that summer go out and help elders with whatever they needed help with. Usually it was mowing the lawn or chopping wood or cleaning up garages, things like that. We also have partnered with Calypso Farms here in the interior, so students can go help pick out weeds and pick vegetables in their gardens and feed the animals out there. Pretty much whatever opportunities that we can give students to volunteer, we like to make sure they get out in the community and give back. So that's in a nutshell what we do at RAHI. So kind of in summary, we're in classes from about 8 to 5. The students will have study hall for 5 days a week as well for another 2 hours where they can dedicate their time in a quiet dorm to their studies. And then they have some breaks in between for meals, additional study time, calling home. And also, of course, we have our dedicated staff and who live in the dorm who can take them on trips into town, like store runs, or maybe they just want to go down the hill and get some ice cream, things like that. Try to make sure there's plenty of things for them to do. For a student, the main benefit, the main reason students say they come to RAHI anyways is the free credits, aside from My Mom Made Me. But they also get a really good college experience. And so we work with minors, so it's not entirely like college. We don't just bring them up here and then say, okay, have fun. We definitely have a very rigorous program that's planned out for them, and quite a few rules that we need them to follow so that we can stay safe here on campus. But they do get the experience of meeting students from across the state, figuring out what it's like to navigate a campus, meeting teachers, developing those relationships, getting out of their shells a little bit. And yeah, pretty much everything you can imagine a college student would need to succeed and get familiar with a college environment. Great question. Do I get more applications than open spots? Yes, our acceptance rate is about 70% depending on the year. One of students able to be accepted into RAHI twice? Yes, but it's very rare. So we used to actually do the program in kind of like a 2-year cohort style where students would come in as a junior and then return as a senior, but we didn't actually find that there were many benefits to that for the students. And so we've adopted more of a try to make sure that we can offer it to as many students as possible rather than doubling up. I hope that makes sense. There have definitely been times though where 1 or 2 students will apply and then there's a spot open and we're able to accept them again. But typically, unless that spot is a spare spot, we don't have another student to fill it, we'll try and fill it with a student who's brand new to the program. Other things students get, one of my favorite things is confidence. We have students who start out the program and they are too shy to speak up in our orientation meeting, and by middle of RAHI, you know, they're just going. They've made friends and they've built confidence in themselves to succeed in the college environment. And by the end of graduation, I mean, everybody has, you know, smiles and that just sense of fulfillment that they accomplished this feat over the summer. They also get a ton of friends, usually develop mentor relationships with instructors here on campus, and then also with their staff with TCs. And TC is a tutor counselor, so we have staff who live in the dorms, we kind of structure the students into family groups. So we have like this big cohort of 50, but we try and set them into smaller groups of about 8 to 10 that each tutor counselor is the leader of. So the students have additional opportunities to go with a smaller group out and do different activities and then kind of lean on each other and get to know each other a little bit more than the rest of the cohort. There are also scholarship opportunities depending on the year. Also, again, depending on what funding we're able to get. So this last year, we were able to offer students scholarships to the University of Alaska Fairbanks and then also the University of Alaska through a couple of awards that we give out as part of RAHI. Previous years, we've been able to give each senior who has graduated from RAHI and are moving on to UAF a scholarship, and that kind of varies each year as well. So it looks a little bit different, but we do try to make sure that there are some financial incentives at the end. And then finally, it's a great resume booster for sure. What are the admissions requirements? I think I have a slide for that. Let me check. Yeah. So I'll get to that here in just a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great question. So I feel like I usually talk about the benefits, but it really is better to hear them from the students. So I too have a short video that I think we have time to play. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys. And I'm going to try and make sure I have computer sound optimized here. I can remember how to do that. There we go. Okay.
This year, the Rural Alaska Honors Institute celebrates 40 years of giving rural and Alaska Native students an unforgettable crash course in college success.
I'm very curious. I am what you would call like a lifelong learner. It's something that I am extremely passionate about and I love knowing things. I think that RAHI could be the experience that will determine if you want to go to college or not, because it definitely gives you a good view of what you will probably live like as a college student.
RAHI to me is a place where I can go to become more familiar with what college life would be, and that's both a better understanding of the campus and also what classes would be like and how it would be to live on the campus.
RAHI is a special program. It's so special to us, and it's been going for 40 years, and we hope it keeps going for 40 more and then some.
I think that the adjustment would have been harder because coming to RAHI, I also had to learn a bunch of other responsibilities aside from just your academics. I had to be away from my parents, find a way to make sure that I eat food on time and on time, the times where you have to go to the cafeteria, otherwise you won't eat. So stuff like that, I didn't really take into account because at home you could just make something really quickly, or it would always be there because my lovely mother has always prepared food for me.
I do think that time management is going to be very important, but I don't think that it's going to be a big issue because it's something that I've had a lot of practice with here through our regular study halls, and I think that RAHI has prepared me well for managing my time.
Every year it was such a privilege to work with RAHI students. We always have such a fantastic time. You are so inspirational and creative, and you make me certain that the world is going to be a better place.
And now, having gone through the program, do you feel like college is for you?
Yeah, it's really solidified the fact that I want to go into some research-oriented career. I really do love biology and chemistry.
It is a great program that can provide a lot of experiences, and also it can help you with your networking, and that's anywhere from meeting friends to professors to being in the health track, interviewing people that actually have knowledge or are in the career that you might be looking to go into.
My name is Francesca May Correa, And I'm from Ketchikan High School.
So my name is Elliot Hines. I'm from Fort Yukon, and I'm part of the Quechin tribe.
This year,
If I
the
can
rural Alaska
transfer,
honor.
go forward slides here. There we go. Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to hear from students instead of me all the time. So we got that video done last year as part of our 40th anniversary, or not last year, I guess it was 2022. So the summer before this last summer. Yeah, so just so you guys have an idea that of the impact of the program so far, and thank you for sharing that, Katie. I love hearing that. But so far, we've had 1,896 students go through the program since 1983. They've gone on to earn 1,416 credentials, and those are credentials that are ranging from occupational endorsements, certificates, associates, bachelor's, master's, PhDs. That's everything that students have gone on to earn from an educational institution or post-secondary education institution. Those graduates represent 231 different communities from across the state. And some, even we had a couple years before my time where we had students who were here from Greenland, and we had a cohort from Canada as well. So that was a really cool opportunity. And the value for students is about $7,500 when you take into account the meals, housing, tuition, and activities. One thing I haven't mentioned, I don't think yet, is RAHI is completely free. So that part of that application is kind of like, it's almost like applying for a scholarship where students are really advocating for themselves to get into this program. And then everything from the flight to Fairbanks to the flight home and everything in between is offered at no cost to students. And we also give them a very, very small, which is something I'd love to increase, stipend of $20 a week so they can have some spending money here in Fairbanks while they're taking classes. One other impact that we were able to determine is that students who go through RAHI, Alaska Native students particularly who go through RAHI, are almost twice as likely to earn a bachelor's degree than those who have not gone through the program. So our application, we'll get to that here now. The application is open from January 1st through March 1st on our website. And it's something that I always recommend students start ahead of time, or if you're working with students and maybe can prompt them to start early. I mean, most of our applications inevitably come in on March 1st. But if they start early, I think it's really helpful because there's quite a few pieces that they need to get together. So first off, to qualify, we're looking for rural and Alaska Native students, rural and or Alaska Native students, juniors or seniors in high school. So a student will apply in either their junior or senior year, and then they'll attend that following summer. We're looking for a 3.0 GPA or higher, although we have taken students who are close but don't quite meet that depending on their situation. So if something happened or they had a unique circumstance that brought their GPA down a little bit lower, that's a really great opportunity to let us know what their circumstances are in their application materials and why we should still consider them even though they don't meet that requirement. And we look to their references to let us know if they're able to read at or above grade level. And then we're also looking for a commitment to post-secondary education. And part of the reason we have some of those requirements, like the reading level and GPA, is because RAHI is a really rigorous program. They are taking college level classes. These are not high school classes. And we expect them to meet those requirements. So we want to make sure that they're ready for that, and we don't want to set them up, or we want to set them up for success. So the application, like I said, will open January 1st, and they're going to need quite a few things for it. So first up is 2 references. And so that's usually why I say start early, so they can give their references some heads up. But they're going to need one from their principal or counselor and one from their teacher. They'll also need to produce 3 essays. 2 are longer, one is shorter. So one's a 2-paragraph essay, and then the other 2 are 300+ words. The shorter essay is about a book that they read recently, which gives us an opportunity kind of to see what they're interested in. And then the other ones, they have an opportunity to write about why they want to attend RAHI and why we should select them over any other applicants. And then they can write about what they're interested in, which is, I usually suggest students write about what the track they're interested in or what course they're most interested in. Because if they write about it, we typically try harder to get them in it. They'll also need a resume. So if they don't have one started yet, it's always a good time to start building that out. SAT and ACT scores are not a requirement, but we do like to get them because it decreases the amount of testing that we have to do when they get here. So we do math and writing placement before when they arrive here, or if they can take it ahead of time if they want to, but most often they don't. So if they have SAT or ACT scores, we're usually able to place them without having to make them go through those tests or placement exams. And then last but not least is transcripts. And so usually their principal or their counselor will supply transcripts as part of their reference. And that is that's all I've got. So in a nutshell, if you have any students that you're working with that are juniors or seniors in high school who are Alaska Native or from a rural community, and are interested in going to college, I highly recommend having them apply to RAHI. It's a fantastic program. Students get a ton out of it, and we have a lot of fun putting it on each summer. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or speak up. I think I have a few minutes. Or you can reach out to us at uaf-rahi@alaska.edu, and I'm usually the one who answers that email. So it'll just be me. And you're familiar with who I am now.
Thank you so much, Brianna. I do have one more question. So Alaska Native students do not have to be from rural communities. They can be from Anchorage, for instance.
Yep. So basically what we do is we'll prioritize students from rural communities because that's our main target and what we're about. But if a student who is from Anchorage, we recognize that a lot of students move later on to an urban community and would still like to take advantage of this opportunity. So we actually, just a little inside knowledge, we don't actually really deny anybody. Again, if there's a spot open for a student, we're going to take them regardless of where they're from, or invite them anyways, regardless of where they're from or what their ethnicity is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a wonderful program. So thanks so much for joining us today and educating us on the benefits of this program. So thanks so much. Thank you. Have a great day, Brianna. Bye-bye for now.